when even strangers begin to notice. Cause now not only do they feel it, they can even quote it. I was lonely, hopeless, money was my... You know it's real when even strangers begin to notice. Cause now not only do they feel it, they can even quote it. I was lonely, hopeless, money was my only focus. 10 for 8, playing with the J's like I'm Tony Roten. Whew. My phone clicking right now. I interrupt this verse for 260 right now. Little homies want the perkies, they really bite down. They'll pull up with bananas and then peel him right down. Now I mean, every person place a thing like nouns. Think I'm playing? I'll show you what I mean right now. Look. Take your shoes off, you Marion Jones. Apply the pressure in the diamonds like Sierra Leone. I suggest you tread lightly like you wearing the phones. 2 niggas, 3 hammers like we wearing the zone. I remember sharing the zone, but now I'm physically able. I can lift 1,000 zips on the table. You in a bad relationship, what do you bring to the table? Niggas disabled, no label, I'm moving to Qualo. You need an O from me. Call and say I usually pay though, cause we don't play phones. Watching all these movies are grateful, but they ain't came yet. And for that I'm truthfully grateful. So when I wake up it's a blessing, and I'm usually thankful. I stay prayed up, cause ever since the death of my mama I haven't gave up. Every day a quest for them commas, I bag to play up. Roll me up what's left of the scammer. You put your eggs in a basket and I turn mine to an omelet. I'm putting trays up. A couple weeks in county had taught me you better save up. The pounds go for the Antetokounmpo, nigga, that's straight bucks. You ballin' like you Tyrod Taylor after the pay cut. Little nigga, wake up. The leopard print Laboutins had me flee, nigga. After that, I couldn't get designer for like 3 winters back. That's 3 summers in need, nigga. Now I don't see niggas pitching, looking for passes like the flea flicker. I'm pulling up. Trey Young, SMG let off 3 or 4 shots, it only sprayed once. So it's a body when the spray done. Have you sitting there, all medium rare, he needs some A1. That Marshall rugby hugged me so tight, nigga. On the corner with the Grizzlies all night, nigga. If it's a problem, then it's beef on sight. Trying to keep this shit right, we gon' be alright, nigga. The Balenciaga runners fit tight, nigga. Made this happy money just last night, nigga. If it's a problem, then it's beef on sight. Trying to keep this shit right, we gon' be alright, nigga. On my mama, my son recording this, man. Look. I just sold a bitch a half brick of hope. Few Grizzlies got me in my big bag like a tote. It was ugly, had to sling a few blacks that was so. For serious inquiries, nigga asked for the quote. Take my foot up off the gas, nigga, no. I take a nigga breath like hitting him with a jab to the throat. Niggas mad, niggas broke, niggas sad, niggas jokes. And it's still 3,000 for every bag of the dope. I down 8 in like a week, I was feeling like a G. But I ain't even make no profit, cause the shit they sent was weak. Now instead of walking off, I'ma sell it cause I'm me. Had that shit for so low that it was basically free. Picture me with all these pounds in my mama crib. May she rest in peace, cause if she saw this, I'd probably be deceased. She gon' kill me, knowing that her son was in the streets. But she gon' spare me because she know her son went out to eat.
What's good, y'all? It's your homeboy, whatever, man. Just coming at you again with another episode of Karate in the Garage, man. I mean, can't talk, see? I'm out here in beautiful Columbus, Ohio. It is 45 degrees right now, so nice and warm. You know, I'm out here in the garage, door up, chilling, man, smoking a cigar. The cigar is the Flor De Las Antillas. Or Antillas, Robusto. It's a what is it? My Father cigars, which I'll do a little bit of a review on here. You know what I'm saying? But you know, I'm just out here, man. I'm chilling, man. This is a great smoke, great smoke. As you can see, I'm approaching the final third of this. This is a great cigar, man. So, this cigar, now I paid $10 for it. I picked it up here locally. According to online, this cigar falls in the $7 to $10 range. So it's a little, too pricey to be a part of my cheap cigar series. Um, but what can I say, man? Excellent construction, good draw. I don't have to fight for the smoke. It's been consistent throughout. No runs, tunneling, no sort of construction issues with this cigar. Wrapper comes off easy. Um, I was able to punch it with my handy dandy cigar punch from Hollow Point Gear. I love this thing. It's a spent AK-47 shell. Um, with the and the this here is actually off of the pin of a grenade. Interesting little company they got there and products. Y'all know me, I get to talking and my shit will fuck around and go out. But yeah, so this is the My Father Flor De Las Antillas. This is a medium, a little bit more than medium. It's still more medium than full body. So I say it kind of falls in the middle, fits in the middle of those. Sun-grown wrapper. Nicaraguan cigar. Let's see. Cigars International. This is what they say about this cigar. Greeting you from the outside is a dark brown Nicaraguan sun-grown wrapper, beautifully box-pressed and smooth to the touch. Agree. The leaf houses a bouquet of Nicaraguan long fillers and binder to create an exceptionally balanced and smooth experience. Each Flor de las Antillas delivers a distinct array of flavors, including notes of cocoa, pepper, sweet cedar, and earth. From start to finish, the Flor de las Antillas maintains its smooth character and never goes a tick over medium to full body, which I would agree with. For the most part. Now I also visited blindmanspuff.com. And when I smoke this cigar, these guys have it just about spot on. Excuse me. It's not the Rona, y'all. It's not the Rona. This cigar started out with a bang in the flavor department. My notes read like this as I identify the flavor. Chocolate, toffee, roasted nuts, almonds, light sweetness, and creaminess in the background. So here's what I'll say, okay? So when I went to the cigar shop, I told them I wanted something that was either chocolatey or cocoa. And they recommended this cigar to me. Definitely, I say this is more of a cocoa taste than a chocolate taste. It is definitely has sweetness and creaminess throughout. It's not too sweet, but it just has a great taste to it. I don't know. It's all I can't call it a hot cocoa or hot chocolate. It's not that strong, but man, this is just a good smoke, man. Definitely, you can taste the almond in it. It does have a little bit of pepper to it when it first starts out. But I think it mellows out real quick. The pepperiness goes away before the first third is done. Really, maybe halfway through the first third. And from there, the smoke is pretty consistent throughout. It hasn't changed taste. Maybe more of the cocoa-y taste. It does have a little bit of earthy blends to it. Maybe a little bit of cedar mixed in here. one of the other people, because they do, it looks like multiple people put their input in on here. Coffee, nutmeg, and some white pepper. So the white pepper was definitely there. Um, eh, More cocoa than coffee, but not chocolate. Nutmeg, I don't know, man. I don't know what the hell nutmeg tastes like. At least not off the top of my head. I mean, I've had plenty of stuff cooked with it, but it's not like I dip my finger in the spice and lick my finger to see what it tastes like. Like I can't really, I can't really comment on the nutmeg one. Now, one of the things they said on here, which was interesting to me, the pepper has died down some, but the finish still has some harshness, mostly felt at the back of the throat. Now, I'm not a fan of peppery cigars or super peppery cigars because they usually bother my throat. This cigar does not bother my throat at all. Again, I feel like the peppery, kind of went away. Little bit of leathery taste to it, I guess. What can I say, man? I mean, you can see like easy smoky draw. Definitely a great cigar. And when you think about the $7 to $10 range, I think this is an excellent smoke. Now, one thing that this is doing more than some of the other cigars I smoke is drying out my mouth. I don't know what the cause of that is. I'm not that sort of expert, but it's not like, my mouth is just dry. Drier than it would be with most cigars. So I would say if you got to find something to complain about, that would be the only thing I can complain about. Again, excellent smoke. I recommend you try it. I picked this one up here locally from Cigar in Gahanna, Ohio. Again, this is My Father's Cigars, Flor De Las Antillas, Robusto. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I don't know, guys, man. What else is going on? What else is going on? COVID is back. Record-breaking cases. They're starting to lock down the city again. They've imposed this 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. curfew here in Columbus, Ohio. I feel like that curfew, but if you look at the times, but if you think 10 p.m., I feel like that curfew is kind of targeted at the nightclub, late night, nightlife type crowd. I don't know how effective it will be because that's not the only time that people gather. And when they were making bars shut down at 10 o'clock, people were just gathering earlier in the day. So, I feel like they're taking a tiered approach and more is to come with this. But I can understand why if they're targeting the nightlife crowd, why they are doing so. There's a bar not too far from here that they recently redid and reopened, and there are a lot the business 2 or 3 businesses that are next door. I mean, and I've been in the place before. It used to be a strip club. It's been a long time since I've been in there. Okay, but it used to be a strip club. It's not the hugest place, and I can tell you right now that when it was a strip club, if the lot was a quarter of the way full of how it is right now, quarter to half, then that place was packed. So there's no way that people aren't in there back to back the way the crowds are on the weekends. There are a lot of people that are complaining. Again, I think it's a tiered approach, but to those of you who are out here complaining about COVID and things getting shut down and you having to wear masks and this, that, and the other, listen. For those of you who are going around, you feel like that's ineffective or you feel like this is a fake virus, Um, I have lost friends to this. One recently, my neighbor, my fishing buddy. Um, there are plenty of people that have lost loved ones to this, or that have been sick, and some didn't experience any symptoms. Um, some of them, the symptoms were mild. And then, unfortunately, like my neighbor, it took him out the game. And the crazy thing is, man, like he, I hit him up to go fishing, and he said he wasn't feeling good. We didn't really talk about why. I just assumed he had like a cold or something like that, which is probably what he thought he had at the time. And then, about maybe 4 or 5 days later, I'm upstairs working, and I got my windows open when I work, and I see the ambulance pull up at his house, and he comes walking out. So I'm just like, maybe he isn't. Something else is going on. Maybe it's not nothing crazy major. Maybe he just wants to skip the line and the thing. I didn't know what to think because he walked out, sat on the stretcher, and left. You know what I'm saying? But he passed away about 4 or 5 days after that, and his brother told me it was from COVID, and he couldn't breathe, and that was the reason why he had went to the hospital. Now, how he got it was he picked somebody up who needed a ride and gave them a ride, and he got sick after that, and that's how he contracted it. So out of the kindness of his heart, helping somebody out, he lost his life for something that you wouldn't think is a life-threatening situation, but with this virus out here, it is, man. So to those of you who don't think this virus is real, you go around, you talk all this shit and trash about it. You have issues, with the precautions that are being taken. If you think this is a fake virus, I invite you to show up at somebody's house that's passed away and tell their family, their kids, their wife, their husband, whoever, their mother, their father, their grandkids. Show up to their house and tell them it ain't real. I'm not gonna go deep into it, but I'll put my back against the ropes, talk a little bit of boxing real quick. Man, what the hell is going on with this Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury fiasco? Tyson Fury decided that he wasn't gonna fight Deontay Wilder. He's talking all this stuff about the contract expiring and this, that, and the other, and he's gonna move on and fight somebody else. People are criticizing Deontay Wilder because he hadn't really said anything. So he comes out, and he talks, and, he talks about the cheating that Tyson Fury did, how he felt about his staff, his training staff, why he fired Mark Breland. He was upset with his trainer, for some things. But, he also calls out Tyson Fury to honor the contract. He moves to mediation, and as soon as he moves to mediation, all of a sudden, Tyson Fury's upcoming match that he thought he was going to have magically gets canceled, which tells me that his contract did not expire, and that the rematch, or Wilder's entitlement to the rematch, is very much in play. And there's a lot of people that criticize Deontay Wilder for not coming out and saying something sooner. Deontay Wilder made a great point. He doesn't come out and give a whole bunch of interviews between fights, and I understand that he lost the last one, whether it was by cheating or not. It goes down, at least for now, in the record books as a loss. So maybe people are criticizing him for not coming out and saying something sooner because he lost, but some of the people that are criticizing him were hoping that, a broken man would show up or what have you. But I knew Wilder was in a good place even after the defeat, when he immediately basically had posted, a few pictures or something like that, where he went to Africa right after the fight. I want to say it was like within a week or maybe a week or two after the fight. I mean, it wasn't very long after it. So I knew mentally that he was in a good place based on the pictures that he had posted or what have you. You know, but here we are, man. Boxing is crazy. I hope that boxing does the right thing and forces this rematch. Um, a man has a rematch clause in the contract, honor it. And now, I think, with Tyson Fury having a history of cheating and people, outside of the Wilder camp coming out and talking about some of his antics or what have you. And even in sparring, someone was coming out and talking about, loaded gloves or the way he wears his gloves and sparring and stuff like that. So I don't know. We'll see how it all plays out. But it feels to me like he was looking for a way out. If he can't cheat, then how's he gonna? He doesn't want to fight Deontay Wilder. But we'll see. I look forward to the rematch. In the rematch, if it occurs, I'm looking for Tyson Fury to get put on his ass and get knocked out. And the king is back, Deontay Wilder. And that's all I got to say about that. What about Terence Crawford and Kell Brook? Well, now I am a person who always says one of the things that I dislike. I'm gonna come to that in a minute. So Terence Crawford fights Kell Brook, pieces him up and knocks him out. I seen people criticizing the stoppage, like it was stopped too soon, bad stoppage. Man, if you look at them last 3-4 shots that Kell Brook hit, man, he was hit with. Terence Crawford put his all on them shots. Them was thunderous shots. And the referee did the right thing because he was getting ready. I mean, them was the type of shots that put you out cold. He's lucky he didn't go out cold, but he was clearly hurt. He was clearly defenseless. Terence Crawford came out and did what he had to do, showed the world, that he could walk through Kell Brook. And, it may not be 100% the Kell Brook of old, but you can't take nothing away from Terence Crawford on that fight. He came out against a bigger man, a naturally bigger man, and knocked him out. Now, people want to see Crawford versus Errol Spence, right? One of the things that I hate about boxing is somebody will fight somebody. So they're looking to set up a fight, and one of the fighters will go fight somebody that the other person fought. And really the only reason that happens in most cases, because sometimes that is a legitimate path to the champion or what have you. But in some cases, man, it's just a comparison. People want something that they can use as a comparison when the fight came around. Say, Errol Spence couldn't stop him until late, when his eye socket was basically busted up. But Terence Crawford knocked him out early. Or they'll come and say, such and such couldn't knock him out, but another fighter did. Or, this guy knocked him out in round 2. This other guy couldn't knock him out until round 4 or something like that. Those are the type of things that people come out and say. Or they'll be like, oh, well, when such and such fought him, he was getting hit. Well, he wasn't able to hit, this other champion. So that means, they like to take that and be like, oh, well, based on this particular fighter and this particular performance that each one of them had against that fighter, this guy or that guy is the better guy. And you can't do it like that. And what I love about that is, or I love about Terence Crawford, is Terence Crawford came out and he said, he was like, you cannot compare my fight with Kell Brook to Errol Spence's fight with Kell Brook. He was like, you can't do it. 2 different fights. We all have different styles. 2 completely different fights. You cannot measure which one of us is better, basically, based on our performances against this common opponent. Now we've got Errol Spence and Danny Garcia coming up soon. Danny Garcia is a tough customer. Okay, Danny Garcia pushes everybody that he fights against. Um, there has been fights where I thought Danny Garcia lost and they gave him the decision, but Danny Garcia, regardless of that, is still an excellent fighter, and he's going to show up to win. And Errol Spence, in my eyes, I always felt like I really didn't want to see Errol Spence fight Danny Garcia because I didn't feel like he had anything to prove. But given the situation where, he's coming off of this accident, he needs to fight somebody before he fights Terence Crawford, a fight or two. Danny Garcia is an excellent opponent, for that. He didn't come back and cherry pick somebody who was a bum for his comeback fight. He came back against somebody who's, in the top tier of the division. And you got to respect that. So I look forward to it, man. I think Eric, he's going to push Errol Spence to the limit. I don't think Errol Spence is going to knock Danny Garcia out, but I do believe that Errol Spence is going to win a decision. I don't know if it'll be a split decision or a unanimous decision. I don't know if he's going to come out and whitewash Danny because Danny fights people very close. When you think about, Danny Garcia against Porter or Thurman, very close fights, So I don't think Danny Garcia is going to come out here and lay down. I don't think Errol Spence is going to walk through him. And we don't know what Errol Spence is coming back, man, because regardless, I know that he had injuries. He has posted photos of his face all swollen up and stuff after the accident. I know he walked away, you could say, from the accident, but that's a terrible accident, man. An accident that would have killed most people. Ejected from the car. So whether he walked away or not, he's not going to just show back up 100%. I'm sorry. I know he's had time to recover, and I hope he has recovered 100%, but you don't just come back from something like that with a guarantee, walk away from it or not, and expect to be 100%. So I'm interested to see what Errol Spence comes back, man. If he comes back and he ain't lost a step, Errol Spence is the man. And I would edge Errol Spence over Terence Crawford because of that, when they fight. But I can't wait, man. I want to see Errol Spence beat Danny Garcia, and then I want to see Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence. Now, I was riding with Terence Crawford before Errol Spence fought Sean Porter. After watching Errol Spence versus Sean Porter, if that Errol Spence comes back, okay, and if that's the Errol Spence that fights Danny Garcia and that also fights Terence Crawford, maybe my mind will change when that fight comes around. But as of right now, I'm picking Errol Spence. And I love Terence Crawford, man. Terence Crawford, one of my favorite fighters. I know I talk shit about him not coming out speaking and stuff like that. But the fact remains, Terence Crawford, one of my favorite fighters. He got that mean streak. He's like a pit bull in the ring. He ain't scared of nobody. Neither one of these guys is scared of nobody. He's scared of the other one. So, I really look forward to that, man, and I hope it happens. And I hope it happens soon. And I'm glad that Errol Spence didn't choose to move up. He's a bigger guy. He could move up in weight classes, but he doesn't want to move up until he gets Terence Crawford. Then you got the crazy shit with, Bob Arum and Terence Crawford, man. Like, Bob dissing his fighter. Like, I ain't making no money off of him. Well, whose fucking fault is that? You the promoter? You know what I'm saying? What I loved was when they were interviewing Terence Crawford and Bob Arum was next to him. And they're like, Terence Crawford, man, who do you want next? What's next? And he said, like, you answer this, motherfucker. Like, let's get this fight cracking. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to make moves. And I can understand, you know, if Errol Spence has this fight coming up and Crawford wants to fight Pacquiao, okay, that would give Errol Spence another fight to come back and make sure, you know, that he's ready to go, that both of these guys are in top form. Coming off that accident, I would like to see, you know, I think it benefits Errol Spence to get that second fight should Terence Crawford go after Manny Pacquiao instead of Errol Spence. If I was Crawford, I want Errol Spence after he fights Danny Garcia without another fight. But you got to respect that these guys are competitors. They want to fight each other at the best. And he wants to fight somebody else before he fights Errol Spence, which ensures that the Errol Spence that we get is, you know, at that point, he's back in ring shape 100%, which he looks good now. But again, we got to see if he comes back and he has issues, it gives him another fight to tune up. And then these guys go at it, and we got two juggernauts, man. Biggest, to me, probably biggest fight that can be made in boxing right now. Aside from Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua, should Deontay Wilder knock out Tyson Fury. But outside of that, even with that, I know the heavyweights, you know, heavyweight boxing is back. People want to feel like that. You know, the heavyweights command or control what goes on in boxing when that division is good. However, skill set wise, Crawford versus Spence is the best fight that can be made in boxing right now. You know, and that's just my opinion, man. That's just my opinion. Oh, come on, YouTube.
Shocking, right?
I hate playing music off of YouTube because I like to play ads before the music. What y'all think of that Young Jeezy versus Gucci Man on Verzuz, man? Man, I gotta be real. In my eyes, Jeezy won that shit. I felt like Gucci didn't come out and play his best tracks. Gucci came out, man. He came out with that tension, that animosity. You know, he was talking shit from the jump. You could tell body language wise. You know, the tension was there. The build up was there to it. Despite them deciding to squash their beef or what have you, you know, I think that he thought that he could, or at least the way he approached it was as if that was going to give him extra points in the battle. But Gucci didn't play his best hits, man. He didn't play his best hits. I don't think he was going to win anyway. You can take Thug Motivation 101 and play that to start to finish, and Jeezy wins. I mean, just flat out. I mean, he could win off of that one album. That and The Recession is what me and somebody was talking about earlier. Plus, you know, the shit that he did in between. I like that Jeezy mixed in a little, you know, he mixed in that track from Boys in the Hood. But man, Jeezy, man, He stayed calm. What's interesting to me, okay, so is he stayed calm. He said that, they talked out in a part of it that basically Jeezy reached out to him to squash the beef and have Gucci Man come on the verses and do it together. Gucci accepted. And so people are trying to talking about, how Gucci was being disrespectful and he's talking, like he was referencing the murder of Jeezy's friend, like etc. Ooh, excuse me. And when they got to that part where they basically talked about, how they had, Jeezy had basically reached out to squash the beef, it made me think, why would, and I haven't watched any of the interviews. I did watch the one from the Breakfast Club with Jeezy after, but I haven't got to see what Gucci had to say after. But I feel like maybe the reason Gucci took the approach that he did was he was going to try to get under Jeezy's skin and see whether or not he was serious. Because people hit you up all day, acting like they want to squash something. But actions speak louder than words, right? Sometimes you got to question whether or not somebody's motives are serious. So maybe, now, maybe that was a little harsh the way that he went at it. But at the same time, maybe Gucci took that approach because he wanted to see if he was serious. He wanted to see how Jeezy would react, because somebody's reaction will tell you whether or not they serious about what they told you. So I can see him pushing those buttons to see how Jeezy reacted, to see if he was serious about squashing everything. So at the end of the day, all the trash talk I can respect, other than maybe the part where he talked about his dead homie and played that diss track talking about it, But at the same time, that particular track is also a solid part of his catalog. So if you come into this looking at it from a battle rap type perspective, then I can understand why he would play that track anyway. You know what I'm saying? But the words that he said maybe outside of that track, between songs and stuff, referencing his dead homie, is the only issue I take with what Gucci was doing if they were truly trying to squash this beef, right? But if they could make it through that with respect and perform, So Icy together at the end, that's dope. And a lot of people said the culture won, which is true. You know what I'm saying? You got two rappers out of the Atlanta area. That really was an iconic versus. I won't say that it's my favorite versus. I think my favorite versus so far was the one with Jadakiss. Just because Kiss was on, Kiss made that one exciting, man. He was lit, you know what I'm saying? But this one, I think, I'm trying to think of how I want to put my words on this. So maybe it wasn't the best, but it was the one that I was the most interested in. It was the most intriguing, because we didn't know how it was going to go. You know what I'm saying? DMX and Snoop was a good one, but I put Kiss and Fab number one only because of how Kiss was clowning the whole time from an enjoyment perspective. I put this one number two. I bang some Jeezy, I bang some Gucci Man in the car when I'm riding around. You know what I'm saying? And I got X versus Snoop number three so far. There's a lot of good matchups that could be made. I hope they continue the versus series. And that's all I got on that, man. So I'm just gonna finish up this cigar. I'm gonna cruise out, with some more Rick Hyde from the Plates album. It's your homeboy, Whatever Man. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Whatever Man, WHATEVA_man. Like my videos, comment, share, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and I'm gone.
Money gon' come and go. My niggas just don't change. Friends turn foes. Everything that glitter ain't gold. My niggas just don't change. The plug said he had them things for the low, but right now shit's slow. Hope in a week or so that shit don't change. That shit won't change. Feeling like my back against the ropes with a hope that bi-weekly won't cut it with a dope back. Before my ribs touching like they groping, I'ma focus and get double but I owe back. You a dead man walking, you walk around here with no back. I'd rather have a toe tag than sit under a bitch using nomad. You ain't got possession like a stove pass. Higher loyalty and question to your 10-year homies. Lost a couple of the realest that was this year only. Make me wonder when I leave, is they gon' shed tears for me? So every single day I'm here, I can't let them live for me. Nah, I pray them blessings come down. Dear Lord, if you hear me, hope them blessings come now. I was stressed the fuck out, let's finesse it, but how? We sell everything we got and bring them extras around. They been grown from the ground. I got hoes going down, I got shit going up. You just known in this town. I was raised by the block, I wasn't saved by a dope. Bitch, I changed my approach. You was stained by the soap. Hit a pain in my quotes. For that change I smoke. Fuck around and hit you right up in that vein by your throat. But shit changed without growth. Shit changed as I grow. All these snakes in the grass. Niggas change without dope. Play the game like a pro. Niggas lame and I know. Yo, big homie should be ashamed. Bitch, we was trained from the go. Trying to turn the projects to a mansion. Manifest destiny. I'm good with expansion. Playing for the soap, boy. I should've went to Kansas.
Oh, wait.
Playing with the drums, nigga. I could've went to Grambling. Why niggas so worried about that pocket change? You should be focused on the numbers like the stock exchange. I gotta hustle for them commas. And that motherfucking cancer took my mama, nigga. Shit won't change. Hoes gon' be hoes. Money gon' come and go. Word. Friends turn foes. Everything that glitter ain't gold.